On today's helpful how-to video, I'm going to be showing you how to change your Mitsubishi power steering pump on your Mitsubishi Endeavor. Now, I looked for a video personally myself, and I couldn't find one that was extremely good. I mean, they probably might be one or two out there, but I just couldn't find one that was helpful for me. So I'm just going to wing it because I work on a lot of cars and probably can figure it out. But what happened to me is this pulley here, it's locking up, and I had to cut my belt because I got stranded. Good thing about the Endeavor is the power steering pump runs off one belt. So I cut the belt, got it home. It was a $75 core charge, so I need to go ahead and take the pump off before my other pump comes in, because I did have to order it at the auto parts store, and I can take them missing, match it up, and get my $75 core charge. So 3 bolts hold this pulley on. If you still got your belt on, you will loosen this pulley nut here to loosen this up, and basically take your belt off. You got 3 bolts. You can see them pretty good. One here, here, and one up behind here. Those bolts are 14 millimeter. Let's go ahead and try to remove these. Oh yeah, that definitely ain't gonna bring it. So we try a bigger 14 and a bigger wrench. Turns out we need to remove that whole pulley before we can get to the other bolts. I mean, you probably could fight and get them, but why fight when you can just do this? And just remove the whole pulley out of the way. Just keep up with your bolts. Now we can get to our bolts a whole lot better. I done got this bottom one broke loose here. So let's go ahead and break this one loose. And break the one next to it loose, which is right here. And this will also need broke loose before you can remove this bracket. But all these bolts need to be removed. So, turns out this one don't need loosening yet, but you will eventually have to loosen this pump bolt. But once you remove these 3 bolts, they all the same size, all but this longer one here. Now don't get them mixed up. Make sure you know what they come out of. So let's go ahead and remove all this. Looks pretty good. Extremely good, actually. Good bracket. So put it up, use it later. Now we can see the pump. And there are some lines you will have to get to and some things. So I'm pretty sure there's a drain on this power steering pump, so let's see if we can find that. So on the opposite side, this big bolt here, that will need to come off. This bolt right there. So go ahead and remove here. You also got a sensor. Looks like it needs unplugged. Oh God, that's a tight sensor. I probably have to take a little one way and pop that sensor off. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that sensor plug and that big banjo bolt here off this power steering pump. I ain't gonna be able to show you because, you know, there ain't no room for the camera, but just stay tuned. I'll show you what it looks like after, and I gotta get something to catch this fluid in. Turns out that's not a drain, that's actually a line, and you can see the other line is held on by a clamp. So you will need to undo that clamp. But what I'm thinking, I can take this pump on loose from this and pull it down enough to get to in lines. That's what I'm going to try to do. So the next bolt I'm going to remove, and I can't get to the sensor to unplug it. So I'm going to try to remove it and then unplug it. But I'm going to undo this big bolt. So once you get that big bolt out, as you can see, I twisted mine down a little bit. See that upper bolt right here? That needs to come out. That's the other bracket. So go ahead and remove that bolt. It is not the same size as that bolt. Well, at least not on mine. So that turned out to be a stud and a bolt. So I got a stud and a nut. I done got it loosened. And now the pump will come down, as you can see. And you should be able to get to it better on the other side to undo your hose. And probably your little wire that you couldn't get to before. So what I'm going to do now is take a one-way, pry that little wire loom holder off, and then unplug it. A tip you see that line with the clamp on it? If you're having trouble get to that, you can come up here, take it loose from the bottom of the reservoir, and then pour it out with the pump, then take it on off. So what I'm going to do is take the 2 tins out, lift the reservoir up, remove that bottom hose. Once you get the hose undone and your little sensor unplugged, if you notice, we still can't come out. Well, there are 2 bolts on the back side of this bracket here and up above it. You need to remove this whole bracket right here for the, you know, the pulley mount that we took off earlier. Just go ahead and remove them 2 bolts, get this out of the way, the pump shall pull out. That's with the bracket out of the way. It was a pain. It was on my Endeavor, might not be the same as yours, but the size was 14 to get that off. So once we get that, everything's unplugged, that hose should be able to pull down. Should be able to, I would think. Let's see. Oh, my wire thing still got me, so I need to pop that loose. A big one way would take care of that. So I got it loose. It just pulls straight out now. Whoa. And you can see this is the hose that was on the reservoir. We just left it attached. Now you can take some pliers, undo it, pull it off, and just reinstall this hose back onto your new pump when you get it. Before you turn this in for a core charge, check your new pump, make sure it's the same, and make sure that pretty much all your sensors, like this little sensors on your new pump, if not, you need to take them off, remove it, so you don't send your core charge in and you end up needing some things. On your big banjo boat here, you got 2 copper O-rings. Keep up with those. I don't know if a new power and steering pump will come with those, but keep up with them anyway. And keep up with all your boats. Don't get them mixed up. That's just a little bit of helpful information. So basically, I know this is why you're watching the video. Come to see me install this power steering pump and see, you know, if it actually works and I don't mess up on it, because I handled a lot of info on the Mitsubishi Endeavor. Now, if you're new here, think about getting subscribed to the channel. Just go ahead and smash that button. So we get attention due to original manufactured variances. It is necessary to transfer the original banjo fitting inlet tube or reservoir electric sensor, if so equipped, to replace the unit. I kept all that from the one we removed, so let's go ahead and figure out exactly where everything goes again. Yeah, pickup tube goes here. So let's go ahead and remove this plug. Factory pickup tube. We go in just like so. It give us new O-rings, I think. It did. Give us 3 new O-rings. So what O-ring do we need? We got one here. We need to take off and match up. So I need a pick. Now we can match it up. This is actually hardened. Actually extremely hard to mash. So look how soft this one is. Hard to mash. Much better. Want to make sure it's the same size. These 2 look to be. So we're going to exchange that one with the new one. Now you can put some transmission fluid on this to help it the seat, which I got some on my gloves, should be just enough. That is installed. Go ahead and install one on a sensor here. Same way, take it off and then match it up. Looks really good. Now I do got an extra O-ring. I have no idea where it goes. I have no idea. I removed ever since was on my original pump. Maybe that's for a different year model. This is an 04 Endeavor. Maybe they use a different size switch or something. But you can see we got lubed up a little. Let's go ahead and install this tube here. Then we can remove this for a banjo fitting. Which goes, can't get it mixed up, dudes. Especially not my videos here to help you. So, smash it in. Goes in just like so. Make sure it turns easy. You don't want to tear the O-ring. You really don't want to pour it out if you don't have to, but you can. And check the O-ring. Looks extremely good. I actually might take a little bit more power steering fluid and put on this before I stick it in. So I just took some fluid, put around this. That way the seal don't go in dry. Oh, it fits so much better than before. Now we're going to take this, and this does torque down, but it don't torque down extremely tight, so I'm just going to snug it up. Do not over tighten this, because you strip that bolt, it's going to be a pain. Oh, it's fitting extremely great, going in easy, so you know it ain't cross-threaded. And the O-wing does most of the sealing here, just like a pickup tube on the LS. You know, the bolt is just to hold it steady. Tight enough. We don't want to over tighten it because it is aluminum and could strip. The banjo bolt, I'm going to leave this in here, keep dirt from out of it. Sensor time. This is the sensor, and how you can tell is this don't fit here. So same thing, gonna put a little fluid on this new O-wing. Now you don't want to over tighten this little guy neither, because it's got an O-wing, and that's what it's off of. So I'll just screw this on in, and then we'll take a wrench or something and just snug this up. We can actually hold this pipe here while we twist. That's 11/16. It fits a little loose, but it fits tight enough that it'll work for what we need it. So go ahead and tighten this, because that should be a metric. Okay, see, it's snug now. Grab this and just give it just a, maybe just a eighth of a twist. Just like so. That's what the O-wing stuff is to seal. We should be good. Now the fun part will be pretty well installing this bad boy. The banjo bolt you can install in the line. It's still on the car. That's the way I left mine. You can install this once the pump is mounted. You got 2 new copper washers, and you got to reuse your old factory banjo bolt, which is here. So I'm gonna set these to the side. Right here, O-wing. I still don't know what this is for, because I removed everything off mine. Don't see no place it can go. Had to be for a different sensor, so I ain't too worried about it. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and put a backing plate back on. Now it is a certain way this goes, and I need to check my phone, because I actually don't remember of how this bracket goes, or do I? This piece goes with this on the inside. Now I don't have gloves on at the moment because I had to double check my video of me removing everything. These are 12 millimeters. No Loctite is needed. I mean, you can use it if you want to, but I'm just going to take my impact, run them up. It should get it tight enough. And then hold the pump myself. Chrome sockets. Yep, I know. So I'll go ahead and put my gloves back on. I try not to get oil and stuff on my hands as much, because I do work with a lot of electronics. And I do have a lot of fish, and I just don't like that stuff around it, because of the oil can stain anything you got white, especially cases or computer cases, and oil ain't good on the fish, which everybody knew that. So yeah, I won't clean a tank if I got oil on my hands. Go ahead. Impact got that pretty tight. Yep, so we good. Just want to double check everything. So get all your bolts together. If you lost any, oh God, I feel sorry for you. Get all your bolts together, and then let's feed it up through the engine. So the way you install this is the same way it come out. It's up above the axle, just like so. Now it is hard for me to film this, so I'm going to quit, get it installed, then explain to you what I did. So once you get your pump in there, you want to just scoot it out of the way, and we attach this bracket. It's got 2 bolts on the back side here that you will have to tighten up. Those 2 bolts is a 14 millimeter. Now once you get that, you got a stud up here. I done got my wire attached, but that stud, this sets on like so. Then you got a big old bolt, goes in this power steering pump right there. We got the upper stud bolt bolted, and the bigger bolt. Next will be your pulley setup, assembly, mount, whatever you want to call it, and then you can hook your lines up once you get that. This is the bracket you will be installing, and if you look, you have one longer bolt than the other ones, and you're probably saying, oh shit, where does it go? Well, this nut goes towards the bottom. The super long bolt goes on this side, The 2 short bolts go here and here. I saved you some trouble. Now, if you ain't, you should subscribe after that. So I'm gonna go ahead, feed this up in here, just like so. Tighten it down. Next to be the pulley. Now you wanna make sure this is pretty loose here. This is your adjustment. You will tighten it up on your belt to take your frac out. Go ahead and apply a pulley. You don't want to tighten this all the way up, because if this is tightened, then you have no adjustment. Like, it won't move. So, let's go ahead and leave this semi-snug. See, we can't move it now. It's a little bit difficult, so keep it loose so you can move it up and down. Next step is hook your lines up. I would start with the upper line and then the banjo bolt that just slides on. A clamp holds it, and then the other one, the banjo. Plug your sensor in, you should be good to go. It's hard for me to film on this side of the vehicle, so I'll show you when I'm done. So I got everything tight. You don't want to over tighten your banjo fitting. You want to make sure you use both of your copper washers. Sensor plugged in, the line put on the other one. Tension your belt, you know, and make sure everything is good to go. Everything's tight and adjusted. And then you want to top it off with your fluid. What I'm using in mine, Mitsubishi recommends a lot of stuff, but from what I read, a lot of people just use Dextron 3 Mucon ATF fluid in them, and that's what I'm putting back in it. So use a funnel so you don't spill a lot of it. But I mean, you can not use a funnel too. I'm not using one, but I've spilled some. And once you get this filled up, go ahead and start the vehicle and then pour it in as soon as it starts. Once you get that, you want to check for leaks as you do this, but cut your wheel backwards and forwards. But I'm not going to do that part just yet, because I'm on a jack stand and I couldn't knock it off the jack stand. So if you ain't leaking at this point, I'm starting to overflow. If you ain't leaking at this point, go ahead and put your tire back on it, and then mess with finishing the reservoir on up. So go ahead, cut the car off, put your tire on it. Once you get the wheel on, go ahead, start it back up and cut your wheel backwards and forwards. This will work the air out of it and get somebody to fill it up as you do it. Looks like this system held about a quart, and I got it a tad bit over full, so I actually need to lower it some. But you can take a turkey baster or something and remove it if you overfill it. So I'm gonna let it run a few minutes and then see what we got. Once you get it at the level mark, and you cut your wheels quite a bit, and it's not taking no more power steering fluid, you can go to the next step. That's making sure your wheel is torqued down, because you should have had it put on, and test drive it. See how it does. That's what I'm fixing to do. After the test drive, no more noise. The wheel cuts great. Everything seems okay. I have no leaks. I have a little bit of power steering fluid that I know didn't come from anything, but it's basically on my wheel here. But I think that's just why I spilled it, and it kind of ran down and blew back on it, because the reservoir is still the same, and you can see it's pretty dry in there, guys. Pretty dry. You can see it on the what it ran down. So I think it's pretty good. If you guys found this video helpful, you have it already, you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it if you do. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.